Now, a Met police officer recently threatened to arrest and fine a Christian preacher who was accused of a hate crime, coming just weeks after a gospel singer was threatened also with arrest over singing religious songs. The evangelist can be heard protesting with the police in the video, so why don't we have a quick watch of that now?
So there is a public
we need to have structure, otherwise you're speaking at the same time.
Well, right now you're speaking over her.
Right. So I'm saying, is she speaking or are you speaking?
Yes, you do.
We both speaking.
There is an element of
but I'm not
we can
speaking
walk
when
away.
she's
We can walk away. Let's make the being
betrayed. However, you still.
But as long as you're not preaching over the megaphone.
You just mentioned. You just said just now.
Sir, for yourselves, for leaflets, for example, that does not fit under the public space protection order, even under the religious category for being able for freedom of speech. But obviously, a crime has been committed, we need to investigate.
Okay.
Or do you want a £100 fine? Okay. Because if you don't want that, we could deal with it in custody.
I'm not trying to be rude. I just want to ask one question.
I think you are, sir, trying to be rude.
I want to answer the question. Thank you. Thank you, officer. Can I ask you the question? I'm not asking you the question. I'm asking you.
Well, okay, but you're aware that I can fine you for that.
I'm just asking the question.
One second. Who you are.
1 second.
If you do not, I will arrest you for public space protection order breach.
1 second.
Do you have identification
I know you're
on
upset.
you?
1 second.
Well, 4 coppers sent to harass a preacher. Try and find a copper when you get mugged or robbed in London. Well, now I can speak with a consultant lawyer to the Christian Legal Centre, Michael Phillips. Michael, welcome to the show. Can we start, before we get into the absurdity of this, about the actual allegations, the homophobic incident? They say the missionary claims he was simply reading out a chapter of the Bible, John chapter 3, verse 16.
Well, there's no offence there. I mean, the problem is this, is that police officers that I meet day in, day out, they're often extremely ill-informed about the Public Order Act. And I watched a little bit more of that video before. And what the officer said is you commit an offence if harassment, alarm and distress is caused. And that is just not what the law says. What actually the law says is that if you threaten somebody, if you abuse somebody, and it may have that result, then you may have committed an offence. And once again, if you're not exercising your right to freedom of speech. But the officers always take this topsy-turvy approach to the law, whereby they say if somebody's upset, then there's a crime. And that is not the case. It is not the law. And unfortunately, this is just a systemic problem. It's not just, this is Uxbridge. We see it in Liverpool. We see it in Yorkshire. We see it across the country.
And Mike, a lot of people watching this might start to think that there's one rule for Christians and one rule for other faiths. After all, we often hear people shouting obscene things at pro-Palestine marches. The police simply turn a blind eye. They couldn't care less. And yet, routinely now, Michael, it seems Christians are specifically being singled out.
It's an extremely sad thing, because what we're seeing is that Harmony London is a client of ours, and that a couple of weeks or so ago she was told you cannot sing church songs outside the church without a license. It's complete and utter rubbish. But yet on that bit of Oxford Street, which is very near my office, where she often plays her music and people absolutely love it, then there are some people of other religions who are usually there on a very regular basis, who are not singing songs, they're not producing wonderful harmonies, and they've never been interfered with whatsoever. And one has to ask the question, why is this discriminatory behavior going on? And it has to stop, because people are afraid. You know, she was just going out there, she's singing these wonderful songs, you know, trying to lift people's spirits, and she gets harassed and bullied by these police officers, for not just for a couple of minutes that we see on the video, but it goes on and on and on. In fact, I think her encounter was 45 minutes. These preachers the other day, it went on for quite some time. And eventually what happens is somebody gets arrested and put into prison, albeit maybe only for 24 hours. And it sends a chilling effect to everybody else. Other people who may be slightly maybe weaker disposition think, I'm not going to be doing that, because if you go out and you even sing a song, a police officer who may be ill-informed, doesn't know the law, is going to put me in a police cell overnight, and I just don't want to do that.
OK, Michael Phillips, consultant lawyer for the Christian Legal Centre, thank you very much for joining us. I don't know about you out there, folks, but it certainly feels to me that we are looking at two-tiered policing here. Why is it they're clamping down on Christians and yet turning a blind eye, for example, to those from the Muslim faith when they're shouting stuff on our streets? The police just seem to stand by. How does that make you feel? Please send me your comments, gbviews@gbnews.com.